Welcome back to Henry's Garage. In this episode we're going to work on this car and we're going to get the rear suspension, sway bar, all that kind of gubbins back on it. Get it back on its wheels, which you can see I've done, so that I feel a bit more comfortable moving it about, because I've had it, you know, when I was just having it on stands, with the stands on these dollies, it wasn't particularly safe. I was very uncomfortable. So this just gives me more confidence, and that was the main reason for it. So I hope you enjoy, and any thoughts, help, advice, gratefully taken. Thank you. I am back from a week in Greece, and I still wish to get this back on. So I've got the car nice and stable, so we're going to pull this out and get some hammerite on it so that we can get it back up there all cleaned up. We'll give it a clean off first again, and because the paint will then need to dry, we're going to take a look at this. So I have just pulled out the stag. It's been sat there for a week. See, so I just pulled it out, and we've got 3 little patches of oil by the look of it. So this must be engine oil. Okay, it's been changed recently, so it's in nice condition, but it's leaking. This is, well, I'm not sure where that's going to come from, to be just to the right of it, and is green. And then I've got a little bit here as well, further back, which I'm guessing must be from the transmission. So I'm going to have a little look and see if I can see where those are leaking from, and just check the levels, make sure everything's okay. But we'll deal with this first, because that's going to need to dry, and then we'll go from there. Right, so we have one coat on. It looks pretty good, and I've deliberately not done the backing plates, because I want to force myself to take those off and look at all of that stuff. So by not doing that, that will make me do it once it's all back on the car at some point. But right now, what I'm doing is I want to get it back on the car, so make myself feel safe underneath it. So that's why we're doing this. So yeah, that's had one thing coat put on. We'll get another coat put on it once this is dried. I might actually take a bit of grit sandpaper to it first and just rough it up again, and then put another coat on. Just to make sure I get in all the nooks and crevices. But we're going to leave that to dry for a bit. That's 2 coats on there, looks great. It's nicely covered. It's just drying now. It would look better if I hadn't painted the bolt heads, but there we are. Maybe if I'm feeling like it at some point, I'll actually just take those off individually and clean those up. But this is all looking pretty good. So we're going to let that dry enough that I can sit it back down and wheel it back under the car for tonight to dry off properly. I have to get it out of the way so I can get the stag back in. So we'll just leave that to dry now, and maybe go out for a drive instead. I should have cleaned these bits up yesterday when I was doing the axle, but I was so tired I didn't think about it. So been working on those today, so they've all had a coat. They all got wire wheeled down. They've had one coat. I'm going to let that dry and we'll give it a second coat. Today is Tuesday, I think, and so here are my painted up bits and pieces. which are going to go back on there. So we will start by pulling the car out so I can work from both sides. We will wheel this into place, and then I guess we'll start with getting the trailing arms on. And this bit of the A-frame, I guess, and see if we can work out how it all goes back together. I paused then because I suddenly thought, God, I wonder if these are handed. So I need to look at these and see if they're handed or not. That'd be a pain. So I've started by loosely fitting the trailing arm and the radius arm. I've also loosely fitted on the axle here. There we go. So that's kind of loosely fitted in place. I did it by putting the axle on the stand. Now this is currently hitting there, so I'm just going to have to adjust that slightly to get that through, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the trailing arm on the other side and get it connected up underneath, as I have here. That way I'll be able to use a jack to start lifting it all up, which I think will be helpful. Getting this second trailing arm on has taken me a lot of time, and what I had to do was completely lower the axle, and to get it connected up, look at the angle, I have to have everything out, but that will straighten up as things come up, so that's okay. So I think it's the radius arms that go on next, which will mean lifting it up, so I'll have to get a jack under there to do that. Okay, so the way I got this all back together, I keep not getting video for some reason, so in order to get the radius arms in, I connected it at the body end, and then I slowly lifted the axle until the bolt would slip through easily so that I could do the back end onto the axle. Still low enough at that point to bring the spring in, so I then put the spring in, kept raising it until the spring was held in place, and I did that on both sides. So I had it resting on my jack stands, as it still is, like that, and then I put the dampers on. That seems to all be holding, which is good. I've not done anything up to torques or anything like that because it needs to be under pressure and all kinds of stuff, so that will come later, but I will tighten them up a bit more. Now I have a question. Is this seated properly? It looks okay at the top to me. Okay. Down at the bottom I'm just slightly worried that that is not seated properly. In fact, I'm fairly confident it's not. Let's get this in camera. I'm fairly confident that is not seated properly, and I have to take it off and do it again. We go over to the other side. Again, the top looks okay to me, and the bottom here looks a little bit better. But I'm not sure if maybe they're meant to be twisted in a certain direction in order to, you know, for the end bit to come in, or what. So can anyone advise me if those are seated correctly? And if not, is there a trick to getting them just right? So I'd like to know that. Right, so the purpose of this is actually get it back together so that I can feel a bit safer, because I can, instead of having it on stands like that, I can put the tyres on and have it sitting on the tyres. So here I've not put the drums on, the brake discs. I'm just putting in place the drum itself, wheel over the top of that, and then I'll be able to lower it on. Okay, that's back on and more or less tidied up. I need to give it a bit of a sweep. But we're not done yet, so I've got this bracket. I forgot to put it on. Where is it? There we go. It goes, I can't remember which side it goes on. And I think it probably goes the radius arm. But I need to have a look. I think it probably goes this side on the radius arm. I need to look at the video taking it off and confirm that and get that in. The other thing I forgot to do, I completely forgot about the anti-roll bar, which is here. And so I need to take that down and paint it, clean it up and paint it. Now I'm not going to do that now, but once I've rested I might come back out and clean that up tonight so that I can finish it off tomorrow. And then as I was under there, I don't know if we're going to have the light for me to show you, but I noticed that some of the underside of the axle could use a little bit more work. No, it's not really got the light for it. I don't know if that's coming out or not, but there are one or two bits there. It's worse on the other side. On the yeah, that need a bit of work. So we'll get under and do that. And then also where I had my jack stands, they didn't get painted. So I'm gonna also hit that with Director Rust to protect those bits off. So, but not tonight because I'm just exhausted. I mean, that's really hard work getting that on. It's for me. So we're gonna call it good, take a break and finish off the job tomorrow. So there's the sway bar with one coat of paint on it. We'll add a second coat and then tomorrow we'll get it back on the car. So I've put the suspension all back on at the back. There is something very nice about having it all painted, even if it's done nothing more than that. But so I haven't actually torqued up any of the bolts, but I have just tightened them up, so they're okay there. I haven't gone around it. There's a couple of bits I've not touched up yet, which I need to still. And in doing that, I have touched up a lot on the main bit down there, but I've just noticed some here as well whilst I'm videoing. So we'll just touch that up, and then we'll call this good or done. And so it's nice, and I feel more confident moving it a bit now. So the next thing would probably be painting and the outside. So if we come up, that's all of this needing sanding down, flattening, and primer put on. So but I don't have any. I want to sand it down with 320 grit, and the 320 grits that I ordered are sticky on the back, and I actually need this kind, which is Velcro on the back. So I'm going to have to order the right stuff, and I'm away next week, and so I won't order it and have it arrive whilst I'm away. So it will be a little bit of time before I get started on that, although I could actually, you know, there's some of this stuff here can be done by hand, so I could do that, or I could start cleaning up the front suspension, which I have down there, because if I could get that back on as well, that would really make me far more confident in terms of moving the car about. So I'm not sure what I'll do.